Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Morgan from Morgan Led Insights. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you are one of my loving subscribers, welcome home. So in this video, we are going to be talking about Mars in Scorpio. So Mars was in Libra for about 4 to 5. That's typically the Mars strength orbit is about 4 to 5 weeks, sometimes 6, just depending on Mars placements and the position in terms of the sun and the earth. But typically Mars is going to orbit and transit through any sign for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, unless it's in its retrograde cycle where that period will be extended. So Mars is now in Scorpio. Mars moved into Scorpio on November 19th, early in the morning around 2:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mars in Scorpio will take us all the way through to 2020. So Mars will be in Scorpio until January 3rd, 2020. So when we talk about Mars in astrology, traditionally Mars is thought of to be the planet of action, the planet of will, the planet of expression. The expression of the sun's vitality is going to be showcased through the energetic action of Mars. So when we talk about Mars in astrology, we're talking about how we assert ourselves, how we express our free will, how we behave, how we take actions, how we react. Physically, it's a physical sign, a physical planet. It's not like the moon where we're reacting subconsciously or emotionally. Mars is dealing with our physical responses, with aggression, with anger. If you think about Mars and its planetary ruler in terms of its sign, Mars natively rules Aries, which is a very assertive, very action-oriented, very much of a doer. So when Mars is in Scorpio, where Scorpio is a water sign with a fixed modality, which really expresses itself through very yin feminine qualities. Sometimes Mars isn't, I don't want to say isn't happy, but sometimes Mars feels overwhelmed emotionally. Mars can also feel drowned out, like some of its ability to act is inhibited with Scorpio's introspection. So typically Mars will just act, right? We think about Aries. Aries is instantaneous. It's the first sign, so they have to be instantaneous. They have to be the ones to take charge and be like, you know what, I'll do it. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it. So when Mars is in Scorpio, Scorpio doesn't react like Aries. Scorpio isn't a cardinal sign, so Scorpio is not going to act on a whim. So Mars can sometimes feel like it's limited, like it can't express itself fully because Scorpio is slow to respond. But what's beautiful about Mars in Scorpio is it really allows us to see the intention behind our action. Where Aries is very impulsive, Scorpio is very premeditated. Scorpio doesn't do anything on a whim. Everything that Scorpio does is something that it's been thinking about for a long time. They do their research, they do their background checks. Scorpios are private investigators. So when it comes to Mars being in Scorpio, our actions now are very intentional. We move with intention, and through that intention of Scorpio, we act with intensity. And so our actions carry more punch, they carry more power, they carry more meaning, they carry more essence during this period. And so it's very important for us to pay attention to the why, the why behind what we're doing. Instead of being so impulsive, instead of being so quick to act, really take your time and really do your research. This is a beautiful period to, especially, for my people who are wanting to invest, or people who are wanting to expand or to grow in any area of your life. This is the period with Mercury now being, Mercury just came out of retrograde in Scorpio. And so our thought processes are completely upside down. How we think, how we process information, all things from our past. It's literally almost like a rebirthing. We have an opportunity during this transit to really rebirth our paradigms, how we see and respond and perceive the world can change right now in this moment if you choose for it to, especially now that Mars is coming in while Mercury is still going to be in Scorpio, even though Mercury is actually going to be stationing direct on November 20th. Please go watch that video if you haven't watched it yet, if you want more information on the Mercury retrograde cycle. Now that Mercury is stationing direct, but Mercury will still move through Scorpio until December 9th, Mars can really come and support Mercury's intention to transform. Now our behaviors, so a lot of people feel like overwhelmed, like, you know, the retrograde cycle really slowed them down or threw them off or messed up their plans. No, it didn't. Okay, it didn't. It actually made your plans better. Now Mars in Scorpio is really coming behind Mercury and be like, okay, let's make this happen. Let's make these changes. Let's not just think about these changes. Let's put them into action. You know, so it's a very beautiful time to really become integrated and almost acting in unison with your lower desires. This is a period where our lower desires and our higher desires can become one. So we're not acting subconsciously anymore. For instance, right? Someone might feel agitated. They may not understand why when they go in large groups or they get around certain people that they're agitated. Mercury retrograde brought that agitation up to the surface. So if you listened, if you did what your higher self and your guides really asked for you to do when Mercury was retrograde, you'll have a deeper understanding of your triggers. Now that Mars is in Scorpio, when you think about those triggers or when those triggers cross your mind or they come into your external stimuli where you have to intake it internally and be like, okay, this person is agitating me. What do I do? Mars can help you transform that behavior. So you're no longer triggered from being in a group around certain people. You know those triggers. Mercury helped you understand those triggers. The new moon in Scorpio helped you rebirth those triggers emotionally. The sun in Scorpio really shone its light on those triggers. And now Mars is coming back to help you transform them so that you can respond and react differently. So we'll start to see a lot of agitation coming to the surface, because anytime there's a lot of changes, anytime we see Scorpio energy, anytime we get into this transformation period, people get upset. Because we all want change, we all want to grow, we all want to expand, but nobody wants to share what they care about or what they're attached to. And just because we're attached to something doesn't mean that it's good for us. And so Mars in Scorpio is doing what you ask for it to do. Be mindful of the things that you ask for, because sometimes they show up in ways that we never expected. But everything that is occurring right now, all of the actions and the behaviors and the changes that we're really going to start to see is coming from the intentions that you really set during the new moon in Scorpio, which Mercury retrograde in the sun, and now Mars is here, and Venus, when Venus was in Scorpio, is now here to support you. So we're going to start to see people, literally, the changes that were made on the inside or the changes that were not made on the inside are now making themselves realized. We're now able to see them. We're now able to interact with them. We're now able to be like, oh, so-and-so behaves like this. It's not so much where we had to think about it and we didn't have an understanding of, you know, like, well, I think they act this way. No, now that Mars is in Scorpio, we can implicitly see people's impulsive decisions and if they're going to choose to reshape them or not. So I asked in the daily email, if you're not, you know, subscribed, just subscribe. I asked people, like, this Mercury retrograde brought everything up, right? But are you going to choose to transform your behaviors to implement the lessons that it learned, or are you going to shove them down and keep behaving the same way and keep getting the same results? So the planets aren't here to make or break you. The planets are only delivering the recipes that you send to them, right? So if you put in an order for X, Y, and Z, okay, beep, 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 there you go. Just depends on how you perceive it to see if you're actually receiving the things that you actually asked for, which we are. But our behaviors have to be in alignment with our intentions. It's just like saying, I want to be a millionaire, but I literally don't save money. How am I going to be a millionaire? That's my intention, but my actions aren't reshaping that. My actions aren't transforming my behaviors to be, okay, well, I know that I don't save money. My intention is to save money. So now I have to go out and do these things to actually save money. That's what this is going to be about. And because the sun is moving into Sagittarius on the 22nd, and then, you know, this will take us into Capricorn season as well. There's action required. We can't just think about it anymore. It's a doing period, but it's a doing period from a place of calm, a place of knowing, a place of understanding. It's not from a place of fear or from a place of self-doubt. And even if you are in those placements right now, that's okay. But Mars is really here to wake that up, to break that up. And it's going to force you to either A, make the decision to change your behaviors, or B, continue to do the same thing. That's just the recipe. That's all I got. So I hope this video is helpful for you guys. Please make a decision to either A, make the changes, or B, keep doing the same old thing. I love you guys. Have a great month. I'll see you very soon with some more videos on Sagittarius season, Venus in Capricorn, and also we've got a new moon in Sagittarius coming up soon. I love you guys. Peace, like, and subscribe.